Back into the film room, Billy Jones and Ryan Schmucky. We were with you all year, and now awaiting the arrival of Missouri and Iowa. I think they get in sometime today, the Music City Bowl. We're here just about 15 minutes from Nissan Stadium, where Missouri and Iowa are going to do battle to cap off what's been an exciting year of college football for both these teams. Iowa, another strong season under Kirk Ferentz. New offensive coordinator this year, looked a little bit improved on offense, 8-4 campaign, finished the year strong, winning 3 of their last 4 for Missouri. Finished the year 9-3, still really strong. Same story, had a pretty good November, won 3 of their last 4 as well. So, going to be an exciting game. I know not a word we use a lot to describe Iowa, but Ryan, for all the jokes that are made, the picks about this team's offense, year after year they continue to pump out wins. Now 52 wins in 6 years, which is an impressive mark, and going to be a tall task for Missouri to try and get their 10th win this season.
Yeah, everyone says exciting is, big offensive plays, high-scoring games. I love a great defensive battle, Billy. I think Iowa's one of the most exciting football teams out there from that perspective when you watch their defense. We talked about it a little bit before the show. They've generated an interception every game this season. If I'm a defensive fan, if I'm a football fan, that's pretty exciting to me. So really excited to be here. Another game I get to go to, though. We get to break down the film. I get to go to during this holiday season. Merry Christmas to all our listeners. Happy holidays, wherever you celebrate. Looking forward to the new year. So thank you all for being with us for this exciting matchup. As you said, Billy, Missouri versus Iowa, Music City Bowl.
Not only just the interception game, averaging 2 takeaways a game, which is an impressive mark.
Yeah, I think they're tops in the Big Ten, maybe.
Yeah, they are top of the Big Ten in turnovers. And so the big story last year was there was a lot made about Kirk Ferentz's son, Brian, was the offensive coordinator. 20 points a game was the mark. He needed to score 20 points a game to keep his job. Did not do that last year. Or I believe it was 25, 25. So he's demoted back to tight ends coach. And they look to the NFL. They bring in Tim Lester, who comes from that Matt LaFleur system. He was in Green Bay. Matt LaFleur, of course, sort of on that Sean McVay coaching tree. A lot of single back, a lot of movement, a lot of motion. And it's been improved. It hasn't been perfect. I think the quarterback injuries have played a big role in that. But what have you seen from Iowa so far on offense this year?
Yeah, well, we can get right into it here in a second. But I guess before we start, Iowa's done a good job this year of simplifying the game. They do what they do well. They've got one of the best O-lines in the country. They were a semifinalist for the Joe Moore Award, which is the top O-line in the country. Army ended up winning that one. Well-deserved Army, but they basically ranked Iowa as a top 10, top 11 offensive line in the country for that award. So what they do is they try to run the ball behind that big offensive line. Obviously, their star running back sitting out this bowl game, but their run game starts with the offensive line. So they're going to try to establish the run, and then they've got a quarterback playing in this game who's only played 3 games this season, I think, only attempted 35 passes over those 3 games. Brandon Sullivan, yeah, thank you, Billy. They're going to make the game simple for them. They're going to establish the run early. We'll see here in a second. I'm going to start this play. They're going to throw quick passes to the flats, quick RPO reads, and then the occasional play action. But they're going to try to minimize mistakes on offense. If their defense is going to turn the ball over for you, they're going to slow the game down, run the ball, quick passes, and really simplify the game on offense. And that's what they've done well this year.
And I'll say this, outside of service academies, it's pretty rare over the last couple of years, last decade or so, that I've seen a disparity this intense between a team's effectiveness running the ball and passing the ball. Iowa ranks second in the Big Ten in rushing, up near 200 yards a game. Passing offense ranks last in the Big Ten. So we know what they want to do. They want to get behind those big boys up front and pound the rock. And again, I think part of that is some of the difficulties they've had at quarterback. Start with Caden McNamara. He's out for the season. In comes Brandon Sullivan, bangs up his ankle in this game against UCLA. They turn it over to Shaggy Stratton for the last 2 games. He finishes out the year. Going to go back to Brandon Sullivan as it seems like that ankle's healed. Going to be interesting to see how mobile he is, because that was a big part of this game when he was playing. But now we'll take a look at what it is Iowa's trying to do on offense to attack Missouri's defense.
Yeah, let's get right into it, Billy. Like we talked about a little bit, they're going to be a heavy RPO team, a lot of tailback swings. This is a big game against UCLA. I don't think he gets into the end zone, but we'll rewind it. This is going to be Iowa's offense, is what you're going to see. outside zone look here. You can see the O-line stepping kind of hard up top, getting these linebackers to bite on it. We're seeing they've got a lot of guys in the box here. I mean, look at all these bodies right here. No safeties. Not a single body past 5 or 6 yards on the line of scrimmage. And basically 2 guys out here on their receivers. We're just going to out-leverage these guys. This guy's inside of this receiver right here, so he's just going to be able to seal him off. We're going to pull our wing back to the other side. This is it's kind of hard to tell on some of these, Billy, whether it's a design pass. Because pre-snap, I think he's just reading this play pre-snap. He's like, all right, this is going to be our pass play.
Just count numbers.
Yeah, just count numbers. And one thing I got to say that I've loved watching this Iowa film so far, these wide receivers outside, they throw a lot of these tailback swing passes and whatnot. These wide receivers want to block. They want to block. They're taught to block hard. I mean, if you're a wide receiver, you want to be getting the ball and whatnot. But to play wide receiver for this Iowa team, you're going to have to learn how to block, and you're going to have to learn how to like it. So, I mean, look at Zero here. I mean, this defender right here is doing a good job. We kind of talked about earlier that he's kind of got the leverage on these guys because these guys are playing inside. This defender's doing a good job driving him back, but he sticks with it. He's still right here. The ball's already gone. He's still fighting to block that guy. You've got our tight end trying to block the cornerback downfield. So that's kind of what you're going to see from a team out of Iowa, really. A team that, wants to block at every position. So look to see these quick passes a lot.
And I think the wide receivers know they got to do that. I mean, we touched, that was Jacob Gill who took that one almost to the end zone. He's their leading receiver, has just a touch over 340 yards on the year, so it's not a receiving core that touches the ball. They got to fight for touches. And, we'll look here at Kamari Moulton is going to get the ball on this occasion. Iowa's going to be without Caleb Johnson, who is an All Big Ten second team back, ran for over 1,500 yards this year to go along with 21 catches. So a really effective player, dynamic speed. Kamari Moulton's a good option too. What have we seen out of him this year? Because this is an Iowa team that wants to run the ball, and they're going to have to turn to Kamari Moulton to get that done on the ground.
Yeah, I think compared to the other running backs in the backfield, he's probably their fastest guy when you look at him. So, I mean, Iowa's a team who wants to run the ball inside a lot. I mean, this play right here is inside zone. We can talk about it a little bit. But, with Moulton, expect to see a little bit more outside zone pimple action. But with that being said, this guy's still a really hard runner. Came in on the first game. I don't know if we have the clip, but against Illinois State, his first carry, he just laid a guy right in the dirt, man, up the middle. So, I mean, Iowa in general is going to want to establish the inside run game, and they like to do it most with this play right here, just a simple inside zone. Make it simple for your offensive line. I mean, this is a play where you're basically saying, I trust my offensive line as Iowa to, beat up on Maryland's defensive line and just one-on-one matchups, and then, double teams, when they happen. And basically how inside zone works, it is zone. You're basically just stepping, short step to your left here. They're attacking whoever's in their gap. I mean, look at this push, this double team. Anytime you're getting a double team on the D-line, and like I said, they're getting a double team because both their guys are stepping into their zone. And the only guy that's really shown so far is the defensive tackle nose guard. Anytime you get that double team, if you're a defensive lineman, your goal is to basically suck up that double team, get down to a knee, basically fill up the hole so that your linebacker is going to be free to make a play. The offensive line goal, double team, work up to this linebacker right here. Sorry, I know my cursor's a little small here, but I'll try to make it obvious. We're getting to this linebacker right here, and all of a sudden we're overtaking that linebacker, and there's the hole that creates touchdown. Kamari Moulton, breakout speed once he gets through there.
That's Connor Colby right there, and he's an All Big Ten first team selection, a guy that's going to be playing on Sundays. 77, the right guard. I mean, he's going to be a guy that is going to be tough to deal with all day for this Missouri defensive front.
Yeah, he will be. Yeah, I mean, story of the game is going to be for Missouri's defensive line. Can they hold that line of scrimmage? I mean, they're probably not going to be able to get through and make a ton of plays based on how good this offensive line is. But can they limit those first down run plays to 2 or 3 yards to where second down, 2 or 3 yards, all of a sudden third and 4, third and 5. Maybe as Iowa, we don't feel so comfortable just pounding the rock every play. You're going to want to get them in passing situations. He's got a backup quarterback already, and he's a guy that hasn't played for a couple of weeks now, at least a month. So that's going to be really the story of the game because,
Let me see that Colby block one more time, the double team.
Yeah, we'll get through.
Climb into the linebacker. And then, boy, you see Moulton flash that speed.
Yeah, and like I said, look at these wide receivers blocking hard right now. I mean, that's going to be the story of this Iowa team. And, I mean, maybe that's not traditionally exciting in the new age or whatnot, Maybe, a lot of traditional people, a lot of old school people would find it pretty simple.
And this is why, it's old school, kind of 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You look at their average drive length this year, a touch under 7 on touchdown drives. Just 3 times they've scored on double-digit play drives. This is not a team that, despite their reputation as a rushing team, a defensive team, they don't possess the ball for long stretches. Just kind of wear you down, and then they hit those big plays once or twice a game to get enough scoring.
That's true, yeah. It's all about wearing the other team down. If you're a Missouri linebacker going out, you're going to have to be ready to, be blocked every play, be blocked hard every play. It's going to be, this is one of those games where whoever comes out the most physical, especially, I don't think it's going to be too cold, but anytime it's, 50 degrees and under, pads are popping, you feel a little bit more, so.
And we've talked, Iowa's dominated in cold weather games looking back over the past 5 years. Their only losses past November have been 2 games in Florida, 2 Big Ten championship games indoors, and a loss on the road at Nebraska and at UCLA. Again, most of those games warm weather games. The only really cold weather football game they've lost past November has been that one matchup with Nebraska over the past 5 years. So hopefully the weather helps Missouri out a little bit because this Iowa physicality wears on teams.
That's true, yeah. We'll see. I think we're at about 50 right now on the broadcast. Yeah, that's glad to hear as a fan who's going to be there. So, but yeah, we'll see how that takes over. We'll be, they're going to be physical no matter what, whether it's cold or not. Moving along with our film here, just showing another play of them. Tailback swing.
This is all Caleb Johnson.
All Caleb Johnson, yeah. We're not going to see this guy in this ball game, luckily if you're a Missouri fan. But, this just kind of shows you what they're looking to do, and I still think we're going to see this a lot with the guys we got at quarterback and running back with Patterson and Bolton. Because, easy throw, get your quarterback feeling confident. I think Bolton's got some good speed. Trust our tight ends and linebackers to block. And, this play, again, this is all about leverage, but it's all football is. All football is leverage. You've got, if you're a defender in this situation, if you're Missouri, these 3 guys, they technically have gaps, in theory run gaps, they just translate over to the pass game. This guy needs to get outside of here, and this guy needs to get outside of here to force it back to our linebacker help. You can see this guy takes an inside angle, tight end's fighting hard to wash him inside. Might be a bit of a block in the back if I'm a Missouri fan, obviously. I'm calling that a block in the back, but look at all these guys, Iowa, they clearly understand what the goal of this is, to fight for that leverage. This guy's fighting hard to get outside of his guy, too. And they do a good job sealing off their guys, making a funnel for them. These guys should make this tackle, but anytime you're not filling your gap soundly, because there is gap integrity in the quick pass game, too. That's how you let plays like this happen. Hopefully Missouri can be gap sound, whether that's in the run game, but also in the quick pass.
Roll. 3, 2, 1. So we talked about the quarterback issues, right? And the way that injuries have kind of hampered him. Shaggy Stratton has started the last 2. I was hoping our friend Shaggy would get to play Monday, but they're going to go back to Brendan Sullivan. Came from Northwestern this year, started 3 games for Iowa. Doesn't throw it a whole lot like you were talking about, but he can run effectively. And when he comes in, it plays with your numbers a lot defensively.
Yeah, it does. And, I think we talked about his ankle injury a little bit. I imagine he's probably had enough time, long December break, to get that ankle healed up, to hopefully run the ball, get into this Wisconsin game. This is a drive where, he's starting quarterback and Molden gets a couple plays. So we thought this would be a good drive to show this will be our starting quarterback. Not ours, this will be Iowa's starting quarterback. And Iowa's starting running back for this game. This is one of those games where they've been pounding the ball up the gut, kind of beating Wisconsin's D-line up, and all of a sudden Wisconsin's trying to play heavy on that running back run play. And let's just run an outside zone read option real quick here for Iowa. D-line bites too far, and that defensive end bites too far. All of a sudden, this Brendan Sullivan guy can run a little bit. So just to show that play, he's pretty fast. Like we said, Molden's got good speed too. I think this is the next play. Now we're just running a pin pull action, Billy. This is more of an outside run concept. We've got our center right here and our guard. Our guard will be pulling to the outside, trying to be our lead blockers. We're leaving that cornerback free, and his safety scraping over free. But these guys are just going to work down, pin all their guys down. That's what we call it, pin pull. Pin their guys down, hopefully work up to that linebacker, create a good leverage on the outside. But, give credit to, you watch this defensive end, outside linebacker for Wisconsin. he does a good job knocking him pinned. He actually sets the edge and kind of disrupts the play. This cornerback staying disciplined, staying outside. But, on plays like these outside run plays, anytime it's kind of hard for a safety linebacker not to just fly outside, overcommit based on their run reads, based on those guard pulls. They overcommit, and all of a sudden Moulton's got the patience, the good vision to get a 5 or 6 yard run, almost 7 yards on this play. One thing I kind of noticed from him watching this film, I feel like he's got really good vision, good patience in the backfield. If we got this play on real speed, he's kind of.
And then that quickness, man, to just when he sees that cutback lane, fall forward, turns what's 1 or 2 yard run into 5 or 6. And for Iowa, that's really key to keep the. This is an offense that wants to be on schedule. Run it, and then run that play action behind you and get one of those speedy receivers open down the field.
Exactly, Bill. Yeah, I mean he's he runs the ball hard. I think he can lower shoulder run guys over, but expect to see a little bit more pin pull action, outside zone action from Iowa in this bowl game compared to many past weeks where we've got more power backs who are going to be able to run right up the gut. So if you're Missouri, just expect that a little bit. All about, like we said a little bit earlier, in that that quick pass game, no different than the run game. Gap integrity being gap sound. So we'll keep rolling. I think this might be the next play. Yep, 2nd and 3. We got 7 yards on that first down. Moulton's still in. All of a sudden, hey, let's just run read option again. Defensive end, actually does a great job staying disciplined here. We can rewind it a little bit. Read option, for those who don't know, we're basically just. This is kind of this is more of an outside zone look. This is kind of like that first play. These guys are all blocking down, but this tight end right here, instead of blocking down on this this outside linebacker type guy, hybrid guy, like he normally would if it was normal outside zone, he's letting him go. Now I'm stretching up to that cornerback, and we're reading this guy right here. If he slides down, takes a running back, quarterback will pull it. If he stays patient, which he kind of does here, this actually really should be a give read. There's kind of a good hole here, but that play is basically to take a guy out of the play. If you have a quarterback that can run the ball, you can take this DN out of the play by making him choose one or the other. The other guy takes the ball. He does what he's taught here and actually stays patient. This should be a loss, but hey, Brendan Sullivan's kind of an athlete too. He almost falls over here, but stays on his feet. Defensive end falls over, and then boom, another nice cut. And all of a sudden, there's a big run play. He's going to feel really comfortable running the ball. We've talked about his injury, but I think he's had enough time to get better. Expect Iowa to be able to run this read option effectively against the fast running back and an athletic quarterback. We keep rolling more in this Wisconsin game. Just want to throw this one in here. This is, I can't remember his first name, sorry, Billy, but their other running back, Patterson. I'm not sure if you have that in the notes. But number 9 here, Patterson. He had less carries than Moulton, but he actually still had a decent amount of carries this season. So, expect to see him when Moulton's not in there. More of a power guy, maybe not as fast, but here they're just running inside zone. Hard guy to get down. There's 4 or 5 yards right there. But that's kind of Iowa's bread and butter. That offensive line, roll it back a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see how Tim Lester decides to play it. Does he kind of opt for a thunder and lightning, trying to give these guys equal carries, or does he try and lean on Moulton more? It'll be interesting to see how he schemes things up. Obviously, got a couple weeks to prepare for this game.
Yeah, and in a ball game too, you never know how much that means for player development. Also, maybe we're talking about all this stuff about Iowa running the ball, wanting to lean on the run, and not pass the ball too much. But you never know. Maybe you want to develop your quarterback.
And I will say, Missouri's handled speedy backs decently well this year. What's given them trouble is really powerful guys. You think back to Le'Veon Moss in the A&M game, Justice Haynes, Alabama, Rocket Sanders in the South Carolina game. It's been those big, powerful backs that have given them issues. So we'll see how Lester decides to operate.
Yeah, that's a good point. And want to again add that just because he's we're saying Moulton's more of a speedy guy, he's also not afraid to lower the shoulder. Right. Really, anyone on this Iowa team is going to want to lower that shoulder. This is that next play. I think we still got Patterson in there. And all of a sudden, this is where we're going to see Iowa pass the ball. We're not going to see them too much unless it's 3rd and long, getting shotgun, protect 5, protect 6, and have, these long route concepts. They're just going to want to create play action plays right here. Outside zone, faking it. Also, we've got a guy open, and this is a good throw. He just drops the ball, Billy. little bit. So yeah, I mean, anytime you're playing a team like Iowa, pretty easy for these linebackers to get sucked into that run game. They've actually got a bit of a stunt going on here, I think. And they're playing man-to-man, actually playing cover one. But they get him in a good play. They get him an outside leverage cover one. You know, they're trying to do a run blitz here because they're running the ball so much. All of a sudden, got our guy open, makes a nice throw, drops the ball. So we'll see. I don't know. If you're a team like Iowa, those are the plays that you have to hit on to keep coming back to the pass game. A play like that, if you can't even connect on a pass like that, all of a sudden you're on, really, all right, we're kind of wasting the play here if we can't guarantee that these plays are going to happen. We'll see how much Sullivan was able to practice in December coming off that injury and maybe establish more of a rapport with his receivers and kind of get on that same page and whatnot. But another interesting point on this play, we're watching when I'm saying like a run blitz, Billy, is we got our two inside linebackers, one of them basically attacking the gap hard, and this linebacker's kind of coming to scrape over based on the fact that we know, a lot of teams we see when guys get in this stance, right, the running back's getting here, all of a sudden we're going to see more of an outside zone versus an inside zone look. I was kind of showing this too. Some of those earlier inside run plays are going to show that the running back's going to be a little bit further back. That's something we've talked about in past weeks. So teams like Wisconsin, most teams are going to try to key on that sort of stuff, have appropriate run blitzes. Missouri's had a lot of time to prepare. You'd have to imagine they're going to have some sort of run blitzes, trying to act like guys are going to be outside and shooting to the inside and, force those inside runs to bounce out. Really, anytime you're playing a team that loves to run the ball up the gut, Billy, with pulling guards, whatnot, if you can try to get inside of them and blow up the play on the inside and make that play bounce out, that's when you're going to find success.
And this is an Iowa team that throws the ball when they want to. That's what they want to do, is throw the ball when it's convenient. For Missouri, this is where complementary football comes into it. A fast start on offense would be huge. Just build yourself a little bit of a lead and make this team throw it a little bit more than they want to. But Missouri's been kind of allergic to fast starts on offense. We'll get into it soon. It's going to be tough sledding against this Iowa defense.
Yeah, that's a good point, Billy. Iowa in this game up 14-3.
Right where they want.
Yeah, they feel good about, all right, we'll take a chance here and, throw the ball, maybe not for a big play, but try to get a chunk of yards here. If you can get them down 7 or 10 points right away, all of a sudden, we feel a little bit uncomfortable with our normal scheme, which is, run the ball and then run the occasional play action. But we will see. We'll see if Missouri can start strong. Like we said, Iowa's got a good defense. I think this is just wanted to throw this play on there because this is counter. This is one of their other favorite inside run plays. Obviously, this isn't the one they're running back, but expect to still see this play a little bit. Counter, we're basically open up as the quarterback and stepping to the running back. We're stepping to this left side. The linebackers shouldn't have their eyes in the backfield, shouldn't have their eyes on the quarterback. But sometimes that little open up just gives you enough hesitation to not let them fill the gap right away. But, for linebackers, we want to be either reading guards or a lot of times just wing back. This tight end type guy will take us to the play. And you see these guys right away, everyone here is pinning their guy down, and now we've got a guard to kick out. It's kind of like an inverse power is what counter is. You're pulling that guard, he's going to kick out, and now we got a lead blocker coming through on the linebacker safety type guy. That's a great push from that Iowa offensive line. 67 years, taking on a one-on-one battle and getting about 3 or 4 yards of push off the line of scrimmage. So anytime Iowa can do this, really regardless.
Getting Dunker, another one of those all Big Ten selections on that front at the right tackle spot. So, he and Colby on the right side of that offensive line are a fearsome duo.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter who's a running back. Obviously, running back is a very important position, but with that offensive line, they can make those holes inside. It doesn't matter if you have a power back or not. So let's move on to their defense, the exciting part, in my opinion, Billy. Just getting into some of their base looks. On base downs, it's just 1st and 10 against Ohio State. Went through and watched a couple of their games, the last Ohio State game. They really love to just sit and cover 3, Billy. We've seen a lot of teams that have played this in the past. Cover 3, now we're kind of seeing our look post-snap. Deep third here, got the blue zone for our video game players. Deep middle third from the safety. This cornerback's playing a deep third. And now we got 4 underneath defenders. You can't really see Actually, I'm not sure. Sorry, I should have pressed this play better, but I think this linebacker should be in this double zone right here, and this guy's our curl flat player, and he's hook curl. He's getting so sucked in that he might decide to stay. Sometimes you can play cover 3 and send this guy in a blitz and just have 3 underneath defenders. But I really think he's just getting sucked down there into the wrong window and not doing his pass responsibility. But regardless of whether we have 3 underneath defenders or 4 underneath defenders, there's a coverage that Iowa likes to sit in a lot, plays cover 3. Strong safety coming down here actually makes a nice play. But what I kind of want to point on this play is anytime we're playing cover 3 as a defense, we've got a curl flat player on either side, but we really don't have a hard flat player like we might have in cover 2.
Yeah.
Because anytime we're playing 2 high safeties, a lot of times we can have 5 underneath defenders. You're playing 1 high safety with letting your cornerbacks get deep. Now you've just got 3 or 4 underneath defenders. That leaves the flats kind of open, and that kind of leaves your cornerbacks a lot of times in one-on-one matchups. Going through a lot of their pass defense, these cornerbacks kind of realize they're on an island when they're playing cover 3, and they're taught to get out of here like they're playing cover 3 like a deep half, and they're supposed to have zone eyes, right? They're looking at the quarterback, they're opening up to the inside. But they kind of realize that, based on how they're having to play, they don't have a lot of underneath help, so they kind of sit aggressively on comeback routes, routes and whatnot. Seen a couple times this year where you can kind of see below the play, this cornerback actually gets beat kind of badly. Just on a go, yeah. And, Will Howard doesn't see that. Not a bad read, but a nice play by the linebacker. But kind of one thing I noticed about their base defense on 1st and 10, you'll get them in a lot of cover 3 type stuff. And look at this. I mean, you basically got a 10-yard cushion here and pre-snap like a 7 to 10-yard cushion here, and not a lot of help from this cornerback. So, I think if you're Missouri, look to attack them quick in the flat, quick on those RPO run stuff, and maybe get them starting to feel a little bit aggressive. I feel like they have to come up on and stuff, and maybe hit them with the deep ball. So.
Talked about the opt-out of Caleb Johnson on offense, the big news on defense. Jamari Harris, one of the best defensive backs for Iowa. He will not be playing in the bowl game. Of course, we see his name right there, though. Jay Higgins going to be sticking around. Maybe one of the best, if not the best, middle or linebacker in the country. Plays, I guess, more than that Will spot, but he is awesome.
Yeah, he is. He's a solid tackler here, second victim in tackles at this point in the season. I guess this is the last game, so probably still is.
Finished second in interceptions as well. So.
But yeah, that's pretty crazy for a linebacker too, isn't it? So yeah, he'll be a good player. He'll be a next level player. Looking at the scheme on this one, base downs like to sit in cover 3, 1 high safety. A lot of third downs. Sometimes they'll actually sit in a decent amount of zone on third downs too, and we'll get into that and how that leads to interceptions. But on some plays too, they'll try to bring some heat, try to bring like a 5-man blitz, 6-man blitz, play some cover 1. This is what we're seeing here. We're just seeing 5-man blitz, cover 1. Everyone here is just playing outside leverage man on the inside guys. A lot of times the cornerbacks will be taught to play inside leverage because their help is so far away. 1 high safety. This guy's going on the running back. They get to Raiola here pretty quickly. Actually makes a really nice throw and catch, but we'll see how those cornerbacks match up. I think, like you said, one of the cornerbacks will be opting out of this bowl game. Of course, Missouri has
their fair share of opt-outs with Membu and Winter Burton.
Right, yeah. So Burton out will obviously hurt, but we'll see on third downs if Iowa does choose to stick in this man-to-man concept, try to send the pressure, how will Missouri's receivers match up against Iowa's defensive backs. I'd like to think Missouri wins that matchup, but we'll see. Time will tell.
Obviously, this is the bread and butter for Mizzou is that outside zone. Your Iowa gets caught a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to throw this one in there for that exact reason, Billy. Just run an outside zone. This guy's pulling back a little slip outside zone, is what you call it, just to seal off that backside defensive end. But good job by Iowa's defensive line going through some of their film. Their defensive line does a really good job of maintaining their gaps, staying gap sound. These guys are fighting really hard. This guy, we're talking, here's a center right here, and so for those of you who don't know, it's called the A gap in between the center and guard, B gap in between guard and tackle, C gap outside that, and so on and whatnot. But so this defensive tackle right here is clearly supposed to be in his B gap. He gets an outside zone look. A lot of times that offensive line is able to reach you and not let you get to the gap you're supposed to be actually does a good job of fighting out there. This defensive end is doing a good job of fighting. Even looking backside, this backside guard is doing a good job in fighting to stay inside of that tackle, inside of the B gap. But these linebackers are, not seeing the slip action. All of a sudden, that creates another gap here. If you're seeing that, you don't want to overcommit. Ultimately, someone has to stay in this gap right here, and that creates a big hole for Nebraska on this play. Anytime you're running outside zone, that's kind of the goal. I mean, it's not just to try to run outside and beat everyone outside, but it's trying to create holes, trying to get guys.
On the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to get guys what we call double gap, and you can see right here. We've only got like 1 or 2 gaps right here, and you got 3 or 4 guys all kind of in the same gap because the linebackers are overcommitting and they're not being gap sound. There's a big run for Nebraska, but on the whole, I will say, I think Iowa's defense has been really good about their defensive line, getting in the gaps they're supposed to be, and beating their linebackers with one-on-one matchups, especially Higgins, 34. Seen a lot of times where he just ends up one-on-one with in the hole with a guy, and he's able to make that play. So that's kind of their bread and butter on defense. But
Phil Parker's been one of the best in the business for a long time.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a play right there that shows you that. All right, there's one that shows you that they're still beatable, even in that run defensive game. Not a perfect defense, but getting back into their pass defense, I think I mentioned it earlier, hinted at it a little bit, how getting zone eyes leads to interceptions. Just kind of a basic football concept. Anytime you're playing man-to-man on defense as a defensive back, you're taught to be looking at your guy, not be looking back at the quarterback. You've got your free safety help. Those guys are looking at the quarterback. But in general, when you're playing man-to-man, you're not playing it to generate interceptions. You're trying to get incompletions. You're trying to blitz a little bit, get the ball out quick. That's what you see on third down a lot, because we just need to win one play, force an incompletion, all of a sudden we're off the field. But Iowa likes to stick in zone a lot of times, even on third down. We showed you that they will play some man-to-man, but they like to play zone because anytime we're playing zone, Billy, you've got eyes on the quarterback. You're kind of feeling the routes a little bit, communicating the routes, but at the end of the day, and we'll let this play out, all these guys are going to have eyes on the quarterback, and you're going to be able to see him throw the ball, and that's what's going to lead to interceptions. You can see, look, all these safeties are basically just playing kind of a soft cover 2 look. Our cornerbacks are going to trail on any vertical from 1, if that makes sense. They're basically, anytime you're playing cover 2, I'll show them here, I guess. You got our 2 high safeties. Our cornerbacks are going to be flats, and then we got our 3 linebackers. Basically, our middle hole hook curl guys, and their cornerbacks kind of play soft in cover 2, leaving our safeties allowed to kind of stay a little bit more on the inside. This guy's trailing his guy. He's getting that 1 vertical. He's kind of trailing him, so he can't just shoot, like a quick cover 2 hole shot in there. Trying to funnel him to the inside to, give our safety some help. As you can see, this safety, if this guy throws a ball deep to number 1 right here, he's going to be able to break on it. And this safety's seeing this quarterback open up this way because he's got eyes on the quarterback, like we said. So he's shifting this way. This backside safety's also seeing that. He's able to shift that way a little bit. And this quarterback, because he's got eyes on the quarterback and because he's got eyes on the field, he's seeing this route coming over. He's seeing this throw being made. Bang, right to our defensive back. Nice interception. Gets a pretty good return here. I think this was on 3rd down. No, that's on the 1st one, actually. I lied. But that just shows you that, they like to sit in zone defense. Like we said, they generated an interception in every game. Most of those interceptions are coming from zone defense. I think we've got one kind of crazy play later where they get one in man.
Just that feel, man, to be able to stick with that outside guy until he knows he has that safety help, and then work over about 10 yards across the field is impressive. And you feel here for the Wisconsin quarterback, he thinks he's got him, and just out of the corner of your eye, all of a sudden it's going the other way.
Yeah, it's I will say, maybe I shouldn't be telling you this because we play some college football and NCAA together, but I do tend to like zone defense more because I feel like for your normal guy that's just sitting there playing quarterback or whatnot, it's really easy to see a guy running through the middle of the field. Oh, no one's running with them. You throw it all of a sudden the guy's sitting right there. So yeah, especially in the college game, Billy. I mean, I feel like in the NFL we see a lot more man-to-man because quarterbacks are pretty
Too
good.
good.
Too good. They can dissect that coverage. Receivers understand it, so how to find the holes and whatnot. But anytime you're getting just a normal route concept that doesn't really attack zone necessarily, quarterback see a guy running over the middle of the field, we can rewind. Yeah, he's seeing this deep crosser, which is normally more of a man.
Right.
Running a crosser like that, it's more of a man beater.
That's pretty hope your receiver maybe.
Sit down or whatnot. Yeah, but he's seen that. He's seen this guy open, and it's really easy to say, "Oh, he's open. I'll throw it to him." So, all right, we're playing zone. Nice interception. Hopefully, you'd think that Brady Cook has the experience to be able to see that pre-snap and whatnot. Because they will. Yeah, I think. Let's see. Here's a 3rd and 14, where I think they're just playing cover one man. Yeah, they'll kind of tell you when they want to get in that man look. If you look pre-snap here in the zone look. These guys are all looking at the cornerback. No safeties have shifted down, whatnot. They're pretty much telling you that they're going to be playing zone. They do a decent job of disguising when they're doing too high versus when they're doing cover 3. These safeties will kind of like to start too high, and then a lot of times 30 is their guy that kind of scrolls down in that strong safety zone. But a lot of times when they're playing man-to-man, I guess I'll just fast forward through this one because we've seen it, but anytime they're playing man-to-man, which they like to on 3rd down situations, so they can bring this heat. Bring 5 guys here. They're kind of telling you, all these guys, unlike that last play where we saw all these linebackers, safeties sitting here looking at the quarterback, now we've got man eyes. They're all looking at our man right here, basically telling you we're man-to-man. So hopefully, Brady Cook is able to see that, call an audible, get the routes he wants to. But here's an example where, we're still playing man-to-man and we get an interception. So, that, if you're an offense, that's pretty scary. It's just great coverage. He's basically just running the route for the guy. A bit of a late throw. If this throw is earlier, he might get to his guy earlier, but
Big pressure off the edge.
yeah, and the pressure too. That's another thing to look at. I don't talk about the D-line too much, but looking down here, anytime you're bringing 5 people, you're doing that so that you can create one-on-one matchups. We're blocking 6 here, but if you do the math on that, you can have 1 2-on-1. But other than that, you're getting one-on-one matchups. Looking at 49 here, getting one-on-one. Oh, no, you're not going to block me. Great pressure. Forces a late throw. Interception. So, that's what they do well, Billy. Another one, same game. Actually, just playing man on the goal line. This is the one that I was thinking of where I said I think we got an interception and kind of a crazy play. But this is really no different than the last one. We're just playing man instead of pressure. Play action. All of a sudden we get through. Bang, crazy play, interception. So, look for them to be aggressive on 3rd down and base downs. They'll kind of sit in that zone coverage and even play some zone on 3rd downs, but they're also succeed when they try to get aggressive and force some turnovers in man-to-man at the end of the game.
You see, it's just in their nature with his ball hawking ability. And Jason down to quarterback, jars it loose. Missouri's been really good this year about not turning the ball over. We'll see if Iowa is the team to maybe reverse that trend, especially with Brady Cook in the game. You look back at that, Oklahoma and Alabama with him out has been the most Missouri's turned it over all year. So I think that's going to be the matchup to watch. I think if Missouri can hold on to the football, they're going to be sitting really pretty, especially if they can score early. But the Iowa defense, man, just finds ways to turn you over. So we'll see what Missouri's able to do in that capacity.
Yeah, they do, Billy. And talking about this play right here, I think I've got one where Higgins does the same thing. Later, but they're clearly taught that when they tackle to be, one hand secure the tackle and the other one swiping at that ball, ripping at it, trying to punch it out. Because a lot of times when these guys tackle, you can see 37 here. He can bring this guy down for an easy tackle, but he's also trying to punch that ball out. And he does it right here. That's a huge turnover right on the goal line. I think their second turnover against UCLA in that red zone. So I think I got another play where they're doing it later. We might have 2 more plays where they're doing it later, but they're really good at punching that ball out. Sit in zone and get those interceptions.
And here's the Iowa defense winning the game. They don't do it on this play, but we'll see Higgins here on the chase down from the middle of the field, able to jar that ball out with a hit.
Yeah.
Be out before that, but really knocks it loose.
Yeah, big hit right here.
Nebraska does come up with that fumble, but then a couple seconds later, boom, pressure off the edge, ball's out. Fired up as he should be.
Yeah. Yeah, this was a good game. This was an exciting game. But I don't know if you saw the trash talk before and after this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another. There's another one. I guess they got 49 and 48 on their D line, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, both those guys. There's another. You're creating a one-on-one matchup here. This play right here is two-man under, so this is another one late in the game. Almost like a bit of a prevent defense. We're playing man-to-man. All our 5 eligibles, and now we're just letting our two safeties drop back and be safety help, over the top help, so these guys can be really aggressive in their man-to-man coverage. And only blitzing 4, but defensive line wins those one-on-one matchups. So we talked a lot about what their zone is going to look like in the quarterback eyes, but if you're a quarterback, it doesn't even matter how good you are at dicing out, being able to read a defense and whatnot, decipher man-to-man versus not. If you don't have time to get that ball out of there, and Iowa has a pretty good D line. They got good O line, also a good D line. We'll see if Missouri can win those matchups, those tackles and those one-on-one matchups versus the defensive ends.
And again, I mean, I just keep going back to this Nebraska game. Huskers up 10-0. We'll show it in a minute. Iowa doesn't just create turnovers on defense; they can do it on special teams. As you'll see right here, muff punt sets up their first field goal. Got that touchdown we showed on the swing pass, and then that fumble created a game-winning field goal. I'm not sure if this hits the returner or not, but again, Iowa's so fundamentally sound on special teams. You got to be really good. Missouri's been a little bit iffy in that area, so that's going to be a matchup to watch. Missouri doesn't necessarily have to win in that third phase, but has to make sure they don't get beat in that third phase.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can say a muff punt is completely on the returner or whatnot, but talking about Iowa being sound in those special teams, I mean, look right here. Both their gunners have won their matchups pretty easily, and they're hustling down the field. This guy right here creates this turnover. He's doing a good job not restricting the guy from getting to the ball, but he's making him about as uncomfortable as possible. Our long snapper also does a good job, getting down there to make our guy uncomfortable, and all of a sudden, bang, there's a turnover. Yeah, I mean, that's Iowa doing their job, hustling, being fundamentally sound. Because, a punt doesn't seem like a big play, but special teams are a third of the game, and they're very important, especially if you're going to make mistakes like this.
When you look at the ranks, Drew Stevens, 4th in field goal percentage, got a big leg. In this Nebraska game, hit a 53-yarder, but it was 15 degrees outside to win it. Here we see what they can do in the return game. They're 5th in punt yardage, punt coverage, 2nd in punt return yards. They've taken one back. 2nd in kick return yards. They do really well to create takeaways and create field position advantages in that third phase. So, we talked about it. Narrow path to victory for Iowa, but they get it done.
Yeah, they do. And again, we're talking about being fundamentally sound. Special teams where a team shows you that they're fundamentally sound. I love this play. I can't help but giggle a little bit because I'm going to shout out my defensive backs coach, my special teams coach, Coach Tolbert at WashU. This is the technique he calls hands up, hit by. You're going to see 3 different Iowa players do it here. Anytime you've got a punt return, the worst thing you can do is a punt return unit. Even if you don't get a big return, it's that block in the back. We see it happen quite a bit. So what you do to prevent that, hands up, and you just want to run, turn your back to him, and get your hip across their face. This first guy doesn't really get across his face, but he does a good job not making that contact, not getting that penalty. And then this guy, he clearly knows the exact same technique. I'm going to go hands up, hit by. Look, he's not touching him. But he's just getting in his way. So he's turning his back to him, right? You can't call a penalty if my back's to you. He's getting his back to him. All of a sudden, that guy can't make the play. It looks like it could be a block in the back because the guy's falling to the ground, but the ref sees that this guy isn't touching him. He's just claiming the space that's already his. 2 good jobs, and all of a sudden, we got another guy doing the exact same technique. Hands up, get my hip by him. Bang, big return.
An extra 15 yards on that last block.
Yeah, so I mean, stuff like that,
And for an Iowa offense that doesn't move it incredibly well, any field position advantage they can get are huge.
Yeah, exactly, Bill. Yeah, any field position advantages for an offense like that are huge. I mean, that's what this game's going to be about, Bill. Anytime you got a team that doesn't want to, air raid, spread, throw the ball a ton, just run the ball, with a good defense, it's going to be a little bit of a low-scoring game. Field position is going to be huge because, field position is the difference between a field goal and 0 points or a field goal and a touchdown, which in a low low-scoring game. Not that we know it's going to be a low-scoring game, but you think it's going to be kind of low-scoring. That obviously makes a big difference. So yeah, it'll be, in my opinion, very exciting.
Yeah.
It's a bowl game.
Who cares? Throw the records out the window.
Yeah.
Let's have fun.
Let's have some fun, Billy. That's what it's all about. Some good defense and hopefully some good offense. But I'm always here for some good defense.
Missouri wants to finish with 10 wins for the second season in a row. 11 last year. It'll be 10 this year. Eli Drinkowitz would become the winningest coach in his first 5 seasons at Mizzou if he could do it. 3 biggest keys for Missouri on Monday.
3 biggest keys for Missouri. Well, I'll give you one from each aspect: offense, defense, special teams. Defense, I could talk about how you gap integrity, whatnot, and stopping the run, but I really think you're going to have to bring physicality.
Yeah.
Really. I think it's as simple as that.
In a game like this, easier said than done. If things start out physically, sometimes you're not ready to play. You've had a long time off. You got to be ready to hit in a game like this.
Yeah, exactly. But, we got a long time until you're playing your next football game. Hopefully, Drinkowitz and the coaches and those leaders on that team can get their guys into the right mindset of, we got one more, might as well throw your body on the line, be as physical as possible. So I really think on the defensive side of the ball, it's not too much about X's and O's. It's about being as physical as possible, trying to punish those running backs, trying to punish that offensive line, because throughout the year they're kind of known as the punishers, but try to take it to them. A lot of time I bet, the sportscasters and whatnot are going to say, oh, this Missouri team has to play this Iowa offensive line. If I am an Iowa guy, I'm saying, screw that. They have to play us. We're physical.
Flip the script.
Yeah, they have to play us. That's Farmer's talking to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, they have to play us. Flip that script. Switching over to Missouri's offensive side of the ball, you kind of just said it, but protect that ball. Don't allow them to force turnovers on you. Don't give up that ball. If you can protect the ball, you're going to be in a good situation. This is one of those games where whoever gets the most turnovers is likely going to win the game. Going to special teams, Billy, I'm going to say fundamentally sound, no penalties. No penalties on special teams. You don't necessarily have to win or make any big plays on special teams, but as long as you limit mistakes in the special teams, I think Missouri is the better team, the more talented team going into this game. If you cannot make any big mistakes on special teams, I think this is a game that Missouri can win. I'm assuming you're going to ask who I think is going to win. Assuming that's going to be your next question. I'll throw it out there. I think it's Mizzou. I think Drinkowitz is getting to his second 10-win season in a row, winning his coach in his first 5 years. Score prediction, didn't think about it too much beforehand as much as I should have, but I'm going to go Missouri 24, Iowa 14. It's going to be my final score prediction. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go 13. I like their kicker.
Okay.
I think their kicker is going to hit 2 field goals. I'll go 24 to 13. I think Missouri controls this one. I think it's going to be hard for Iowa to get moving too much on defense or moving too much on offense. I trust Missouri to be physical. So.
I'll actually stick with you on the theme of Drew Stevens. I think he kicks a lot of field goals. I think Missouri, again, I think that theme of the slow starts on offense continues. I do think they have enough to win the game. I think it's going to be a lot closer. I think 16-12 Missouri.
Wow.
My
I like your
final.
body.
I think.
So I guess we're going 3 field goals or 4 field goals for Iowa.
Yeah.
Are we going a safety for Missouri or are we going?
I think 3 field goals and a touchdown. Yeah, I think it's going to be a gritty game. Maybe one of those is an Iowa touchdown. Go for this 2-point conversion. 16-12. I feel like this is going to be a low scoring battle. Again, I think the weather being nice helps Missouri a little bit, but
I think it does too.
should be a fun one.
Yeah, I think Missouri is going to be able to pass the ball. Hopefully, in games in the past, to me, it has seemed like when Brady Cook knows what coverage is coming, and obviously this helps with Luther Burns in the game. But anytime he sees that man-to-man, they're just putting Luther on, a deep out route or a corner route, he's getting open. So obviously him out of the game might affect things, but it seems like when Cook knows what coverage is coming, he knows how to dice that up, and I think Iowa's a team that might tell you what they're doing a little bit. They've obviously had a lot of time to prepare. We'll see how much they want to disguise, but in games where Cook, a team like A&M who disguises really well, all of a sudden, much tougher game for them. So we'll see, but I think they'll be able to pass the ball successfully enough to win.
We appreciate y'all tuning in. all season. Ryan will get to watch one more game, but it's been a fun year.
It's been a great year.
Excited to see what comes next year, but we're one final time. Missouri's going to suit it up again. Both projecting Missouri wins. Ryan says 26-13. Seeing 16-12. We'll see what it looks like if I will pull the upset. Can Missouri put a stamp on what has been a fantastic 2024 campaign? We appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll see you next time.